Hi Louise, welcome to our podcast, The Shape of Money. We're here at Money2020 and we're speaking to Louise Beaumont. So I've just been to your very insightful talk on AI and you presented a case study for Signoi about AI. Can you give our listeners a brief synopsis of what you talked about?
Yeah, absolutely. So Signoi is a technology platform, AI. So for us that means neural nets technology, machine learning methods and advanced analytics. We spent the last couple of years building it. We launched about 6 months ago now, and within that 6 months period we've got customers in 12 sectors on 3 continents, and they are using the technology to do the most enormous range of things that we never kind of expected. Because it's the technology is there. The advantage is the imagination you bring to the use case that you're going to deploy. So some companies are using it to understand the marketplace and define strategy. Some are using it to understand how their brand is resonating in the marketplace and tweak or refine it. Some are using it to generate new brands completely. Some are using it to understand how to better market, communicate. Some are using it for new product design, innovation platforms, engagement with customers, to track customer experience, competitor wargaming, you name it. People are asking us, how do we use the technology to do this?
So many opportunities around it, yeah.
So it's as broad as your imagination. Some people are using it as a productivity tool because it's basically accessing huge amounts of data but consuming it in a way that allows you to move fast. And it kind of separates you surgically from the problems around your propensity to assume, your prejudice. And it just releases you from that, because everything that we do is around revealing what's in the data. So, and for 20 years as human beings, we've been trained by those big tech titans to search. And what search does is it just limits you down to the thing you're looking for. So it allows you to miss completely all of the big interesting things which are happening there because you forgot to ask because you didn't know.
Yeah. What would you say were the key opportunities there? I know you mentioned several, but what would you say were the key ones open to those who embrace AI?
So I'm going to just absolutely refute the question because the question's too narrow.
Right.
If all you want to do is what you've done before, just faster, better, cheaper, absolutely, you can use Signoi to do that. My coaching on that is you're failing to optimize on the potential. If you just use this as a productivity tool, that's great. You can do what you've always done, more robustly, faster, better, unquestionably better, and obviously cheaper. Do things that you couldn't ever do before, but just do it, better, faster, cheaper. That's great. Actually, when it comes into its own is when you start doing things which your previous limitations would never have allowed you to do. That's when it becomes interesting.
Okay. What would you say the risks of applying AI to data sets that continue to reinforce social patterns of exclusion, such as gender inequality?
Well, that's an interesting one, because there's this great idea that you've got to train the AI. Actually, what we do is we're built from universal principles. So we're built from universal principles of psychology, ethnography, semiotics, and we just apply those universal principles, and the mechanism that we do it via is via the technology that we've built, the platform that we've built. So that we just reveal what's in the data. So if there is bias in the data, we will bring that to the fore and you will see it. It's not like the bias is hidden in the technology, it isn't. It's actually in the data. So our technology just reveals what's in the data. If your communication streams are biased, our technology will reveal it.
Show it. Yeah, okay. Is the huge task of mining data beyond many financial institutions? And if so, how might this affect the future of some of the smaller players, such as credit unions and building societies?
So it's about the assumption you make. If you make the assumption that there's so much data out there and that you could never understand it or assimilate it or bring out what's in that data, then give up now. Go home, roll over, don't just play dead, be dead.
Yeah.
Right? That is absolutely an option for those people who just can't hack it anymore. For those people who are going, actually, now new technology has made it possible for me to do the things I couldn't previously do. Well, congratulations, you've got some gumption.
Yeah.
Maybe you've got some ambition. Maybe you've got a scrap of courage to do something that nobody's done before. Off you go. Make it happen.
Fantastic. Sorry about all the background noise here at Money2020. A few of us are having a party in the corner, I think. So you're here to talk about a number of topics this week. What's next on your busy schedule?
Actually, lots of people have come and asked me about Signoi, so I've got a series of meetings this afternoon.
Following that talk.
Which are everybody going, okay, we need to use this. How do we match our internal data treasure trove against what's out there in the world? Because that's where you get the insight and the foresight. That's where it really, really cuts through.
Yeah.
You can synthesize what's out there in the world, really understand the patterns, really understand the trends as they emerge, blossom and die, understand what it means for you. But where you bring it into real sharp focus is when you unleash your internal data treasure trove. Access that as well, because that drives a whole load of structured insights and foresights around predictivity. So being able to predict behavior. So that's the insight. Absolutely, that's great. What you really want is the foresight, the what do I do now?
Brilliant. Thanks so much for having a chat with us, and I hope you enjoy the rest of Money 2020.
Thank you.